Hey, it's Karri Flatla here for this week's Friday Fire at RE/MAX Real Estate Lethbridge and Karri Flatla and Associates. Don't be seduced by a hot seller's market with aspirational pricing. Aspirational pricing is back. Maybe it never left. Maybe it's just here to stay in real estate. I want to explain to you what aspirational pricing is when a homeowner is going to list and sell their home, and how it can severely damage the value of your property in the end. So we're starting to see this now as the market is heating up, and it has been since last summer post-lockdown in COVID year 2020. Interest rates are at a historic low. This is not news. And frankly, I think a lot of people have cabin fever and are rethinking their personal residence and how they want to structure their lifestyle, working from home more. I think that certain aspects of pandemic life are here to stay for the long run. So this is how aspirational pricing looks. We get a call, the homeowner says, everything's selling on my street, I'm seeing sold signs go up everywhere, we're going to make some money on our house this year and sell it. And so we do an evaluation, we show them what's happening in the market, and they're shocked that they can't make a $50,000 or $100,000 profit on their primary residence. Often a residence that they've only lived in for 3, 4, maybe 5 years. I always say 5 years is kind of the minimum, but people have itchy feet nowadays and they're moving all of the time. There's so many issues here. I'm not even sure where to begin. But let's put it in perspective. Over the last 10 years, over the last decade in the city of Lethbridge, house prices in total, I think, have only gone up something like 14%. Coaldale maybe more like 18%. It's a little bit hotter market out in Coaldale. But those are the two areas that we play in the most on my team. Think about that. So even this past year, in what we consider a hot market in Lethbridge, and hot market is like 3 or 4 months inventory compared to 7, 8, 9 months inventory. In the Greater Toronto area, they've had almost zero inventory at times. So our hot market is not really that hot, it's more balanced compared to history. So last year we saw in the city of Lethbridge year over year about a 4% increase in average sales price in Lethbridge. So from 2019 to 2020, about a 4% jump in average sales price. And I got that number right from the Alberta Real Estate Association website. 4%. That's $16,000 increase on a $400,000 home. Not $50,000 or $100,000. 16. And that's all other things being equal. So it depends on the condition of the home, the location on that street, who your ideal buyer is, if the home has a great floor plan. I mean, there's so many factors. I'm just taking an average. So if you have been in a home for a few years and you want to make $100,000 on it, I'm not sure if there's any universe that that's happening, except for Toronto and Vancouver, maybe 1 or 2 other big centers in certain parts of Canada. Is that going to happen in Lethbridge, where the average sale price is $300 and the vast majority, like 87, 88% of the market, can't afford a house over $400,000? So we just have to put things into perspective and slow our roll a little bit. The other thing is that if you put your house on the market for aspirational pricing and you do get lucky, I call it bird on a windshield, and somebody writes an offer and is willing to overpay for your house, unless they're a cash buyer, also very rare in Lethbridge, the bank is going to do an appraisal and they will not fund for that mortgage based on the inflated price of the house. So an appraiser isn't going to appraise your house for that aspirational price either. So all that being said, if you're selling a house and going to buy a house, you know, there's a positive aspect to all of this is we have a very stable market. So we don't have that zigzagging up and down in house values. We have a very stable market in southern Alberta. Generally, the market values appreciate by 1, 2, 3% a year. So maybe tracks inflation if we're lucky. Last year was a bit of an anomaly. We saw a 4% increase in average home prices. But again, that's still pretty modest, right? Now, the counter argument I hear from a lot of homeowners is, well, I finished the yard, or I put blinds on, or I put a brand new air conditioner in, I changed the furnace because it was 20 years old, or we put a new roof on. Those are great things to do, and you should do that because buyers want houses that have been well maintained and that don't create a ton of work. But does that really add, you know, tens of thousands of dollars to the value of the home? When a buyer walks into the home and falls in love, they don't think, oh gosh, thank goodness the roof doesn't have a hole in it. No, they're not looking at the roof. They expect the roof to work, right? They expect the furnace to work. They expect the air conditioner to work if it's there. They fall in love with a home because it's well maintained and it feels right and it's priced right, and they're afraid of someone else writing an offer on the house. So the long-winded way I'm saying all this is basically aspirational pricing will cause you to price yourself out of the market. If you get the bird on a windshield buyer, good luck. I hope it works out. If they're a cash buyer, you might be okay, or an equity buyer. But generally what happens, almost all of the time what happens, is you as the homeowner are going to lose because the buyers will overlook your property after a while. They know instinctively, because they've been watching the market and their realtor's watching the market, that your home is priced too high. And so when they walk into your home, I've just seen it a million times from showing houses, they might like it a lot, they might love the home, but they're like, I think they're overpriced. I think they're way overpriced. And I actually don't want to get into, sorry for my language, a pissing match with the seller. I don't want to insult them because there's no way I'm paying this for this house, and my offer will be perceived as a lowball offer. The other type of buyer will say, sure, I'll write on this house for $50,000 or $100,000 under asking price, or a lesser priced house, maybe $25,000 under asking, which again might be super insulting to the homeowner. And now, you know, you've got this huge tension right from the beginning of the negotiation. Most buyers just don't want to do that. They don't want to be aggressive like that. So they'll think, well, maybe when the seller comes down on price, I'll come back around. But most buyers don't come back. So you kind of got one shot to make that great first impression, as cliche as that sounds. Aspirational pricing will damage the market value of your home because you don't get that second chance to hit the market again. You came out into the market much, much too high, not a little bit high to test the waters, but so high that buyers do not grasp the price. It creates cognitive dissonance, and when people feel uncomfortable and confused, well, you know what they say, a confused mind doesn't buy. So your listing will eventually become stale, it will become overlooked, it will actually become stigmatized in the minds of the market, of the buyers in the market, and now you've damaged the market value of your home. There's so much here that's to do with psychology and perception. So on paper, it won't appraise, but out in the market, that's psychology, and you've damaged the value in the minds of the buyer because there's something wrong with the house or it's overpriced. Otherwise, it would have sold in the first 30 days. And I've talked about the magic of the first 30 days in lots of other videos. You can look that up. So aspirational pricing is very seductive when you see sold signs going up all around you, but there's probably more to it. And if you talk to the neighbor and you find out what the house down the street sold for, whatever that price was, remember, Is it a comparable home to yours? What was in that house that is different than your house? And all that kind of thing. And that's where a realtor's experience comes into play. My job is to educate and inform you about the market. Your job is to make a smart decision based on how I'm advising you. Ultimately, the decision is yours. So call or text if you have any questions about aspirational pricing or the value of your home in what is a very strong market now in Lethbridge. It is a good time to sell. Our job is to get you the most money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of stress, keeping your sanity intact. So 3827335 or visit us at karriflatla.com. We would love to hear from you, and we aspire to giving you a 5-star experience. We'll see you for next Friday Fire. Have a terrific weekend, and let's hope it warms up a little bit. Take care. Bye-bye.